Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. And this video is going to be very important for you guys because we're going to talk about some important information. I'm going to talk to you about what actually is running, how it's created, all those background related items which an administrator should understand in terms of Kubernetes. On the previous videos, we have seen that we have configured our first master manager one. So that's the first node we have configured, and we have added that in the kubeadmin init command, in which we have declared this as the master node. In the later video, we have also seen how to join the worker 1 and worker 2 to the master. Now, there are a lot of activities went on. I've also explained you about those activities, which is done as part of addition in terms of creation of a master. Now, as I've already shown you, what are the default pods running as well, right? So when I do kubectl get pods -a, it is showing you all namespaces over here, in which you can see that there are multiple services running, right? So you can see there were this proxy running 3 times over here. There is core DNS running twice, and then funnel running thrice. Now you might be understanding that, what's going on here? How these, as I told you, this is an output of pods, right? So obviously, which means that these are pods. So these are pods which is created by Kubernetes for administration purposes. So what kind of administration purposes it's going to do? It's going to manage the node. So as you know that by default, you cannot actually create any pods in terms of your manager node. But these pods, or some of these pods, are created at the manager node. Okay. Now, why it is created on the manager node? Because the ability it will give to the manager to manage. Okay, that's the reason why it is created. Now, how it is created, that's a very important question. In terms of funnel, so we have downloaded using wget, if you see my previous video. So we have did this command, kube control, apply -f opt software, and then kube funnel. So we use this command to install this particular whatever is in this file. Now, if you see what is in this file, I've also told you that we have the namespaces here. We have images which it's supposed to download. It has cluster role as well mentioned as part of it. The role bindings for your application. You can see service account it creates for funnel, and then configuration mapping, in which it has its own configuration for your funnel network to work, in which the hard-coded IP is there. So that's the same IP which we have used for our cluster CIDR as well. And then you can also see the configuration for your funnel. So in this one, you will have something called image. So always there will be an image in which it downloads in terms of container. So if you see a container, there's an image over here. It basically talks about the funnel, and this version of something of this funnel needs to be downloaded as part of your this YAML file. So which obviously means that the funnel is going to install this particular image as part of your system. Now, when it installs it, it needs to run it. So it has created an environment for it to run it over here. All right. So that's how the pod is created. The pod is created via this one. So what about these other services which you have here, like kube control, API service, etcd, schedule manager? Well, those have exactly the manifest over here on your etc Kubernetes manifest. So inside this manifest folder, you have the configuration file for each of these services, in which those are the images which gets downloaded here. So you can see that this is the image called kube API service, which is a version. And it says if not present. So it basically pulls down the image if it's not already on your disk. Likewise, it has also given some commands over here in terms of configuration of the port number. You can also see the IP address configured over here as part of the kube API service. Now, do remember that this is a file which is created by us. You must be wondering how we created this. We never created this command, right? Or this file, right? So when you enter the command of kubeadmin init, and then you specify the advertise address, and then you specify the I think the cluster cider. Yeah, here. The service cluster cider range. Oh, it's not this one. It's the other one, right? So I don't see it right now, but this should be part of this file somewhere. But so these are something which we have created as part of the particular command. So that command initiated the creation of this full file, which has the details in here according to the customization requirement which we have. So you can see pretty much all those customization is all done over here. And this is how it actually creates this file. And then once the file is created, it is saved over here. If you've seen the video of mine, I would have shown you that the manifest file has created at this time. So this is where it created the manifest file and ran these pods. So once the manifest file is created, the Kubernetes automatically launches these pods. Now, not all the pods are running here. So there are some pods which is running on the worker as well. Oh, that's surprising, right? Now, how do I know that the ones which is running on the worker node and ones which is running over here on the master node? Well, a very simple command is there to tell you. So in terms of, there are two commands actually to tell you about this. So you can run this same kube control get pods -a with -o, small o, and then wide. So this is going to give you the wide output of this particular command. So you can use this combination with most of the commands over here if you want some details on the output, because normally a single command like this will try to truncate some of the details which comes out because it may not fit the page. But when you give this option wide, it's going to give you the complete output of it, even it doesn't fit your page. So as you can see over here, there are these nodes over here. So now you can see there are managers, there are worker 1, there are worker 2. So which means that you have different services running on your nodes. You've not started these services on the node. Now why it is running? These are the default services. It's supposed to be running for your communication, because as I told you, Fanal is basically for networking, so which means that it needs to run on worker 1 and worker 2, but we never installed it. But you don't have to. That's the beautiful thing about Kubernetes, because you don't really have to install it on the remote nodes. It automatically, using the YAML configuration file, it deploys it across to all the nodes, and then it effectively communicates. For the effective communication, it connects them together. This is basically what it does. So you can see the IP address of these hosts or nodes, which is connected, and also the node names over here. But there are services like some dedicated services like EDC Manager, Code DNS, API Services, Control Manager, and one of this proxy and one of the Fanal, and the Schedule Manager over here, right? So it all dedicatedly runs on Manager node only. Why? Because it gives exclusive, connectivity to the other nodes and the control in terms of working with those applications. So that's basically why we would prefer, or they would prefer, when you design an administration in terms of a master configuration, you want these to be running exclusively on the master node. Now, as I told you, there are multiple ways of retrieving this data. Now, what's the next way? Well, interestingly, when you normally do the export over here, right? So export kube config equal to opt Kubernetes. One second. Opt Kubernetes. I'm so sorry. EDC Kubernetes. I was just wondering why the tab is not working. EDC Kubernetes admin.conf. So it's not going to work. This command is not going to work, even though it works, like it shows that it works, because the problem is like there is no admin.conf on the worker node. Why? Because admin.conf or scheduler, control manager, API, etc., all this configuration only exists on the manager node, because there's no relationship between having this existing on the worker node. Now, what is existing on the worker node? It's the kubelet. So if you go to etc Kubernetes, you'll be finding what is called a kubelet.conf. And then inside the PKI, you will have a single file, which is a ca-certs.conf. ca.cert, sorry. So basically what this ca-cert has, the ca-cert is copied from over here. The ca-cert has the public certificate of all the PKI certificates available in here in the master node. So if I go to etc Kubernetes PKI, so it's going to have a lot of, it's going to have a lot of files over here, a lot of key files, right? So what it, when at the time of master creation is that it will export all the public key from all your keys, and then it simply stores it in the ca.cert file. So if I open the ca.cert, I'm not sure if I have the tool to open. Let me just check it out. I can open it, open SSL. It's there, x509 -in. Okay, so now this is giving me in the -out node text. I'm sorry, I didn't remember the command correctly. All right, so now it's basically -text. Don't have to do anything else. So what you have to see is that you see that you have the root certificate here. So the root certificate talks about this 20 years of 10 years of validity over here, which is basically issuer is Kubernetes. Now this root certificate is used to sign all these certificates, so which means that everything else, like it all comprises of everything, because it's it is used to sign all these certificates. So if you can see certificates signed, right? So this is one of the feature of this particular key file. So this public certificate, using this public certificate, your kubelet can connect to any of this interface, nor this can connect to the kubelet, because they can trust each other using this public certificate, because it's just the root public certificate. So that's the reason why the PKI has only this. Oh, okay, I just created these files, so let me remove this because I put out, right? So that's the reason. Okay, let me remove that later. I have to give some special characters to get them out, but that's okay. That's not a problem. So let's leave it as it is. So now what I want to do is, like right now, if I do, if I do kube control get pods, right? So I'll see that this exception is coming, and you need the admin file for it. It's not that you need just the admin file. You can also use kubelet.conf. So I'm going to bring back the export command, which I executed earlier. And instead of admin.conf, I'm going to give kubelet.conf. Now, when I give kubelet.conf, what's going to happen is, like, it's going to, rather than loading the admin.conf, it's going to load kubelet.conf. So it's going to give me the similar privileges as the master, but then not much, but then at least a little bit of privileges. Like you can see that control get pods -a, and you can see that the pods are running. So some details over here, which was not previously available. You can see that all the available pods, which is not just displayed over here, but also displayed over here as well on the worker node. Now, this is because of the power of the kubelet.conf. So kubelet.conf has limited powers, and then those limited power is available for you to understand the pods which is running. You can also check with -oy to understand the pods which is running on this particular system. So you can see that the worker 1 has this particular pod running on it. You can also see worker 1 has this particular pod running on it. So likewise, you can see the worker 1's existence here. Another way of checking this without executing any commands is basically going to var lib kubelet. In this var lib kubelet, you will have a folder called pods. In this pods, you will have the pod name or the container name, right? So these are some of the containers which is running. So you can see the volumes for that container, the etc host for it, the host configuration for it, the containers for that. I'm sorry, it was the pod name pod name, and inside that you have the containers over here. So these are the containers which you have over here. I want to clarify that one more time, because I don't have to make a mistake there, because it's very important. So this is where the volumes are kept, and this is where your pods are. So there are 2 pods which is running at this moment right now according to this output. Now let's compare it with this one. So worker 1 has 1 pod over here, another pod 1 is over here. So you see 2 pods running over here. So this, I can confirm that this is correct information, isn't it? Now another way to confirm this as well is going to var log containers. So here also you can see 2 logs running over here. So this is the old log, and the new log will be there. So likewise, you will have the name of your pod. So you can see the worker 1 pod name is DQN4L. Do you see DQ1 and 4? Oh, you don't see it. Wow. Okay, it's different. Well, I don't see that exact pod name. So this is funnel, right? So sorry, it's over here. Funnel is over here. So it's a LJFX2. LJFX2, yeah, that's the one over here. And DQN4L is over here. DQN4L proxy 1. So basically you have the names connecting your log files, which actually displays the name of your pod running. So you now know where the logs are located as well on the worker node. If there is any problem with that pod, you can always open these logs and verify them. So that's another option I want to give you over here in terms of working with these worker pods. Now, pretty much I've covered everything I want to say on this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Your review matters to me a lot. I'm doing a lot of hard work and background verifications, and doing one try before I get these videos to you. Only your review can make my life better. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.